Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am just Mike. You are watching and you are listening to episode number 77 of The Rock Out Wild Show, where it is not just a show, it is a way of life. Now, if you're new to this video and if you're new to this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below this very video. You can also like or dislike however you want to rate this episode and share episode 77 of the Rock Out Wild Show on all of your social media platforms, from your Facebook, your YouTube, your X, your Instagram, your Snapchat, whatever, your TikTok, what have you. Share this episode on all of your social media platforms that you use. And also, tell everyone what the Rock Out Wild Show is all about, from your family to your friends to your co-workers to your acquaintances. Let everyone know about the Rock Out Wild Show. As you see from the title of this very episode, I will be going over Christopher Nolan's movies. I will present an article of Nolan's films ranked from BuzzFeed, and I will also give my own list of his 12 directed movies from 12 to number 1 at the very end. So, that will be the main event for episode 77 of the Rock Out Wild Show. And the reason why I'm doing Christopher Nolan is because in a couple of days' time, his new movie, The Odyssey, will be out in theaters. And there you have it. Also, we're going to take a look at on this day for July 15th in the world of music, wrestling, sports, film, and television. And to kick things off for episode 77 of The Rock Out Wild Show, I am going to react to an old movie review of mine, a movie called Insurgent. So what I'm going to do first is open up the webcam and say hi to everyone watching this right now. Let's get this going, shall we? So let's present, share screen, make sure the audio is on, and let's go to this review. Let's go full screen with this. Now, before I click play, I'm going to guess how many points I gave Insurgent. I remember this being like one of those young adult teen angst type of movies, kind of like a Hunger Games kind of thing. I like the Hunger Games movies, I think, a little bit more than the Insurgent Divergent movies. I think this is the first one of the bunch, if I'm not mistaken. And I think I might have been fair with this. Maybe not overly praised, maybe not overly bad either. I think somewhere in the middle. I'd say about a 64 out of 100 is my guess. But what is my actual score? Let's find out. Let's react. In 3, 2, 1, action. Divergent, Insurgent, Divergent, Insurgent, Divergent, Insurgent. Ugh, what a tongue twister. Exactly. Hey, what's up, and how's it going, all movie fans in the movieverse? Welcome to the Mike McRock Movie Review Show. Right now, I'm going to review Insurgent, and this is the second installment to the Divergent series, and in this one, Beatrice Pryor must confront her inner demons and continue her fight against a powerful alliance which threatens to tear her socially apart with the help from others on her side. And on the other side, the bad guy side, here you have Kate Winslet's character, Genevieve, who's trying to figure out how to open this box that she found, because apparently only a Divergent can open it. Right, okay. And starring in this movie is Shailene Woodley, yes, Edsel Elgort, Theo James, and you also have Miles Teller, Jay Courtney, Mekhi Phifer is in it. You have a whole bunch of all-star cast movies, and usually all-star cast movies tend to be not half bad. But with this one, the acting in this could have been a lot better than it was. Sure. But I'll start with Shailene Woodley. I thought she was really, really great in her performance. She really gave it her all in this movie. It was really emotional, and you could feel her pain throughout some of the scenes that she was in. And one in particular I really thought was great
when she had to be forced to tell the truth in front of her entire people. And just the way she carried that scene and carried the movie throughout entirely was just absolutely incredible to watch. And
Mm-hmm.
in many ways, I thought she really elevated this movie,
Yep.
but she can only do so much.
Right.
And that's pretty much it besides her. Maybe Theo James. I thought he was
Theo
good, but the
James. Right.
problem was that there was no character development with him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you had Naomi Watts. I thought she was not half bad as well, and a couple
She's all
of
right.
other people. But there were other actors in this movie. I thought, why, oh why, oh why,
Oh, why?
oh.
Oh,
And
here we
I'll
go.
start with Kate Winslet in this movie. I mean, she was
Oh.
not villainous at all. She was so one-dimensional. It's not even funny. Uh, all
Mm-hmm.
it was her looking at this device and looking at other ticky things while talking, and that's supposed to make her villainous. I'm sorry, but I really couldn't buy in her performance at all. She was so dull. And speaking of dull,
Mm.
Edsel Elgort, oh man, you talk about
Oh.
boring of the yin yang. I don't know if it's his character that he's supposed to be that way, or it's him acting. It's probably both, but
Could be both.
man, oh man, can this guy put more effort into it? And Jay Courtney, oh man, you talk about another remote one-dimensional performance. I mean,
Yeah.
uh, the guy is just weird. I mean, there's a scene, a really good chase scene, when they were all going into this train. And keep in mind, this train was made of steel, and no boats can go through it. And once
Mm-hmm.
everyone was on that train, Jay Courtney all of a sudden just takes out his gun and pop, pop, and expects something to happen. I was like, what the heck was that? Oh man, so
You'll
even
wonder
Miles
sometimes.
Teller, I mean, I was waiting for J.K. Simmons to come on this movie and whip him some more of his bad performance. He was wasted in this movie. It was like most of the actors just weren't even trying. They were just going through the motions. They really didn't want to be there. Miles
Oh.
Teller didn't want to be there because I already done Whiplash. And so Elgort really didn't want to be here because I done Fault in Our Stars and I'm going to do bigger and better things. Oh God almighty.
Good
The
God.
acting besides Shailene Woodley and a couple of others is absolutely horrendous. But
Mm.
that's not all. That's not all. That's only a part of the problem with this movie. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad movie. I thought it was entertaining, but the more you think about the movie, the more you could really nitpick the hell out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie itself, the way the story was presented, was really convoluted. It gets really complicated. You don't know if Miles Teller was good or bad in the movie,
Yeah.
and
True.
a lot of other things. I mean, they throw in all these semi-plot points just for the sake of throwing them in there, and you really don't care about it. And what that does is that, actually, to me, what it feels like is that someone drew a speech balloon
Yep.
on a board,
Mm-hmm.
and they draw mini speech balloons all around it and see where that leads. That's what this movie felt like to me. I think if they should have just kept it simple, I would have
Yeah.
praised this movie a lot more, but I just couldn't. But, however, another good redeeming quality, besides Shailene Woodley's acting, was some of the action sequences. They were good. There was no shaky cam, which is a big plus. And some of the special effects were hit and miss. Some were good, some were really noticeable CGI. Even the cinematography in this movie, it's just absolutely excellent. It's actually not that bad. Just the way
Oh
the
yeah. It's well
camera
made.
glides, it goes from camera angle to camera angle. It's good, but
Right. It is a well made
when you
movie.
have Shailene Woodley on those wires, I was like, nah, that's really
Mm-hmm.
noticeable green screen stuff. And even when Shailene Woodley is like doing any physical action, you kind of don't believe it's her. She's a little bit too badass in the movie, but
Right. Could be a stunt double.
just on her performance, I really didn't. That part of the movie really didn't bother me as much as the other nitpicks in the movie. So I won't say that this movie is a great movie, nor is it a horrible movie. I just think it's kind of run in the middle, mediocre and average. The movie
Mm-hmm.
just felt too repetitive. It almost felt like Inception in some kind of ways with some of the
Ah.
action sequences, and one in particular where Shailene Woodley is in a dream sequence with this burning structure with a dead mom in it and stuff like that.
I'll just say this: they always copy something off of something. Always.
Even the ending really felt like Inception as well. And the more you think about it, yeah, it does really remind me of Inception. So it's kind of like copying other things. It gets really repetitive sometimes. It's a little boring every now and then. The pacing comes off a little bit too long, a little bit more than 2 hours. It felt like a 2 hour and 20-minute movie instead of a 2 hour movie. So I was really
Right.
kind of taken out of the movie in some scenes. But when there
Yeah.
was action scenes, I was definitely awake for that.
Definitely slow movie.
So, with all that taken into account, I will say that this movie delivered 62 points out
Oh
of
my
100.
gosh.
I think that if this movie needs to stand out more, it needs to form its own identity and doesn't feel like something out of the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
And I hope I
Said that
get that
earlier.
with the next one. And if you saw this movie, what did you think about it? Feel free to leave those comments in the comment section below. And you can also hit that subscribe button as well to get McRot.
Yeah, so that was my reaction to my old movie review from 2015 called Insurgent. I was only off by 2 points. I knew that I gave this somewhere in the low range of the 60s when I first recorded that review, so I wasn't too far off. And would I watch this movie again? Definitely not. I would not watch any of these Allegiant, Divergent, Insurgent movies ever again. They're a one and done. It's a thing of the past. Let's move on. Now we're going to get into a installment I like to call On This Day. And it's something that you normally see on the Rock Out Wild Show. So what I'm going to do is present, share screen, and let's take a look at what happened in the world of music for July 15th and years past. In 2018, a new digital milestone occurred when Guns N' Roses' November Rain became the first video released before the advent of YouTube to surpass 1 billion views on the platform. One of the most expensive music videos of its time, the 1992 visual was directed by Andy Moran and featured supermodel Stephanie Seymour, the then girlfriend of frontman Axl Rose. The power ballad, which peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100, also marked the longest song to enter the US top 10 at the time. In 1972, Elton John earned his first number 1 album in the US with his fifth studio effort, Honky Chateau, named for the 18th century French chateau in which it was recorded, Chateau de Hérouville. The album featured the top 10 singles I'm a Rocket Man and Honky Cat. In 1978, the Rolling Stones began a 2-week run at the top of the US album chart with Some Girls. Despite the popularity of the album, which marked their 16th LP in the US, the Peter Corsten designed jacket cover caused a stir among some of the era's biggest celebrities. The image, which featured the likeness of Lucille Ball, Farrah Fawcett, Judy Garland, Raquel Welch, and Marilyn Monroe, was instantly challenged by the women and or the estates. Corsten redesigned the cover without the starlet's face, and the album was promptly reissued. In 1958, John Lennon's mother, Julia Lennon, unfortunately was hit and killed by a car driven by an off-duty policeman. Ooh, which is really double suck. While John, who was 17 at the time of the tragedy, lived with his aunt Mimi, he was very close with his mother. Julia, in turn, was one of the biggest supporters at Quarrymen shows. The loss inspires several of the artist's songs, including 1968's Julia with the Beatles and his 1970s solo track, Mother. John's first son, Julian, was named for Julia. In 1956, 13-year-old Frankie Lyman with the Teenagers became the youngest artist to hit the top spot on the UK pop charts with Why Do Fools Fall in Love? And in 1989, Pink Floyd performed on a floating barge in Venice's Grand Canal during the Italian city's annual Festa del Ridor. More than 200,000 fans attended the show, double what authorities had planned for, taking over buildings and bridges along the San Maracca Basin. Following the concert, which was broadcast to global audiences, the Italian army was called in to help clean up the trash and damage that resulted from the overflow of onlookers. We have some birthdays in the world of music. For July 15th, in the years past, we have Linda Ronstadt, who was born in 1946. From the 13th floor elevators, born on this day, July 15th, 1947, Rocky Erickson. From the Buggles, Trevor Horn was born on this day in 1949. Born in 1952, Johnny Thunders from New York Dolls. From Joy Division, Ian Curtis was born on this day in 1956. And so was Joe Santinari as well. Born in 1966, Jason Bonham, son of late John Bonham from Led Zeppelin. Born on this day, July 15th, 1973, John Doleyman from System of a Down. Born on this day in 1977, Ray Toro from My Chemical Romance. And born on this day, July 15th, 1990, Ollie Alexander from Years and Years. And those are all the big headlines for music for July the 15th. Now let's take a look at what happened in July 15th and years past in the world of professional wrestling. As you see here, it's a picture of Eric Bischoff on the left, Vince McMahon Jr. on the right. So what happened in years past in wrestling? Well, in 1963, Bobo Brazel defeated Johnny Bardent in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to become the first man to hold the WWF United States Championship for a second time. In 1992, after mere months in operation, Vince McMahon announced that the Titan Sports-owned World Bodybuilding Federation would be ceasing operations. In 1995, the ECW Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, played host to ECW Heatwave 95. The main event saw the Gangstas, Mustafa New Jack, defeat the Public Enemy, Johnny Grunge, and Rocco Rock in a steel cage match. In 2002, on an episode of Raw from East Rutherford, New Jersey, former WCW President Eric Bischoff shockingly made his WWE debut when he was announced as the brand's first general manager by Vince McMahon. Upon his entrance, McMahon and Bischoff enthusiastically embraced on the Raw stage in one of the most jaw-dropping moments in WWE history. Still remember that to this day as well. In 2006, Brock Lesnar is stripped of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship following a disagreement with NJPW over a title defense against Hiroshi Tanahashi. Lesnar will leave the company with the belt, and Tanahashi would win the vacant title 2 nights later by defeating Giant Bernard in the final of a one-night tournament to give him the first of 7 reigns with the belt. Also in 2006, WWE Saturday Night's main event took place at the American Airlines Arena in Dallas, Texas. In the feature bout of the night, the newly reunited D-Generation X, team of Shawn Michaels and Triple H, defeated the Spirit Squad, Kenny, Nikki, Mitch, Mikey, and Johnny, in a 5-on-2 elimination match. And also in 2006, the long-running Ring of Honor and CZW feud came to a head. A ROH Death Before Dishonor IV at the National Guard Armory in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The main event saw a cage of death match, similar in format to War Games, between Team ROH, which would be Samoa Joe, Homicide, Adam Pearce, who is the current Raw General Manager, Bryan Danielson, Ace Steel, and BJ Whitmer, and Team CZW in the form of Eddie Kingston, Chris Hero, Claudio Castagnoli, Naruku Butcher, and Nate Webb. Team ROH emerged victorious to end the violent feud. Also in 2006, Bob Orton Sr., Randy Orton's grandfather, passed away as a result of heart failure at age 76. Not to be confused with Cowboy Bob, because he is still alive to this day. In 2007, TNA's Victory Road pay-per-view took place at the Impact Zone in Orlando, Florida. The main event match was a winner-take-all match pitting TNA Tag Team Champions Team 3D, Brother Ray and Brother Devon, against TNA World Champion Kurt Angle and the X Division Champion Samoa Joe. The pre-match stipulation saw the person getting the fall winning the title from the person they defeated. In the end, Samoa Joe made the winning pin. He won the tag titles seemingly for he and Angle, but in the end, he decided to keep both belts for himself to defend. In 2012, WWE's Money in the Bank pay-per-view took place at the U.S. Airways Center in Phoenix, Arizona. The main event saw John Cena win a Money in the Bank match to win a future WWE Championship title shot. Also in the match were The Big Show, Kane, The Miz, and Chris Jericho. In the other Money in the Bank ladder match for a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship, Dolph Ziggler emerged victorious over Damian Sandow, Tyson Kidd, Tensai, Sin Cara, Cody Rhodes. I almost said Dusty Rhodes. I would be a generation off if I said Dusty Rhodes, but Cody Rhodes, Christian, and Santino Marella. Also on the show, Sheamus defeated Alberto Del Dipshit to win the World Heavyweight Championship. In 2018, two championships changed hands at the WWE Extreme Rules 2018 at the PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Firstly, the Miz Taraj, Bo Dallas, and Curtis Axel defeated Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt for the Raw Tag Team Championship. Shinsuke Nakamura beat Jeff Hardy to grab the WWE United States Championship. In the main event, Dolph Ziggler defeated Seth Rollins in an Iron Man match to retain the WWE Intercontinental Championship. And in 2020, AEW held their Fight for the Fallen episode of Dynamite from Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. In the main event, Jon Moxley defeated Brian Cage to retain the AEW Heavyweight Championship. Cage had earned the title shot by winning the Casino Battle Royal at Double or Nothing the prior month. We have some birthdays in the world of professional wrestling. We have Anna Jay, who was born on the stage July 15th, 1998. Born on 1990 is Carol Fredericks. Then we have QT Marshall, who was born on this day in 1985. Heath Slater was born on July 15th, 1983. BXB Hulk was born on this day in 1980. And then we got Jesse the Body Ventura, who, rumor has it, he's still in the Baja celebrating his birthday. He turned, how old would he be in 1951? 70, I think he would be 70. Well, he is in the 70s. Jesse the Body celebrates his birthday on July 15th, 1951, and former Lucha Underground wrestler Mil Mascaras was born on this day in 1942. Those are all the big headlines in the world of professional wrestling for July the 15th. Now let's get into sports. Nothing but sports. What happened in years past for sports for July 15th? Well, let's get this going. In 1815, first flat horse race held at English Race Track, Cheltenham on Nottingham Hill. In 1876, baseball's first official no-hitter, George Bradley of the St. Louis Brown Stockings no-hits the Hartford Dark Blues 2-0. In 1879, Wimbledon's men's tennis, John Hartley beats Verg St. Ledger Gould 6-2, 6-4, and 6-2. In 1880, Wimbledon men's tennis, reigning champion John Hartley beats Herbert Lawford 6-3, 2, 6-2, 2-6, and 6-3. In 1884, Wimbledon's men's tennis, 4 consecutive Wimbledon's titles from William Renshaw, beats Herbert Lawford 6-0, 6-4, and 9-7. In 1895, Wimbledon women's tennis, Charlotte Cooper beats Helen Jackson 7-5 and 8-6 for her first of 5 Wimbledon singles titles. In 1901, New York Giants Christy Mathewson no-hits St. Louis 5-0. Now in 1902, Indian-born England Test batsman K.S. I'm not going to pronounce that name, scores 180 before lunch for Sussex versus Surrey in a county cricket match at Hastings and finishes unbeaten on 234. In 1909, Detroit's future Baseball Hall of Fame center fielder Ty Cobb hits 2 inside the park home runs to lead the Tigers to a sweep of the Washington Senators 9-5 and 7-0. In 1912, American athlete Jim Thorpe places in the top 4 in all 10 events, achieving an Olympic record of 8,413 points to win the decathlon gold medal at the Stockholm Olympics. His medal is stripped in 1913 and reinstated in 1982. In 1921, New York Yankees slugger, the one and only Babe Ruth, ties MLB record of 138 career home runs held by Roger Connor since 1895 in a 7-2 win over St. Louis Browns at Sportsman's Park, St. Louis. In 1922, U.S. Open men's golf sulky Gene Sarazen wins the first of his 7 major titles, 1 stroke ahead of runners-up John Black and 20-year-old amateur Bobby Jones. In 1923, U.S. Open men's golf Inwood, amateur legend Bobby Jones captures his first career major championship, defeating Bobby Cruikshank by 2 strokes in an 18-hole Sunday playoff. In 1927, British Open men's golf, St. Andrews, American Bobby Jones retains the title. Wins wire to wire by 6 shots from Fred Robson and Aubrey Boomer. In 1928, 22nd Tour de France, defending champion Nicolas France of Luxembourg holds yellow jersey from his start to finish. His Alcan team has all 3 podium positions. In 1932, LPGA Western Open Women's Golf, Osaka. Jane Wheeler defeats June Beebe 5-4 for golf's only major title. In 1938, Arthur Fagg becomes the first batsman in first-class cricket history to score double centuries in both innings of a match, with 244 and 202 for Kent against Essex in Culture, England. In 1945, PGA Championship Men's Golf Moraine. Brian Nelson wins his 5th and final major title and 2nd PGA title. He defeats former MLB player Sam Bird 4-3. In 1960, Baltimore's future Baseball Hall of Fame third baseman Brooks Robinson goes 5 for 5, including the cycle in the Orioles' 5-2 win over the Chicago White Sox. In 1961, British Open men's golf, Royal Birkdale. Arnold Palmer wins the first of 2 consecutive Open championships, a stroke ahead of Welshman Di Reese. In 1962, 49th Tour de France, defending champion Jacques Anquetil of France claims his 3rd Tour victory. I probably mispronounced that last name in Kingdom Come as well. In 1967, British Open men's golf, Royal Liverpool. 44-year-old Argentine Robert Vinso wins his only major championship, 2 strokes clear of defending champion Jack Nicklaus. In 1969, Cincinnati Red Lee Mays hits 4 home runs in doubleheader. In 1970, Denmark defeats Italy 2-0 in the first Women's World Cup. In 1972, British Open men's golf. Murrayfield Lee Trevino claims his 2nd straight claret jug, first to successfully defend his title since Arnold Palmer in 1962, wins by one stroke from Jack Nicklaus. In 1973, California Angel Nolan Ryan pitches his second no-hitter, defeating the Detroit Tigers 6-0. In 1973, MLB San Francisco Giant Willie McAvoy becomes 15th to hit 400 home runs, this one at Candlestick Park against Pittsburgh Pirates' Bob Moose. In 1975, 46th MLB All-Star Game. NL wins 6-3 at County Stadium, Milwaukee. MVPs Bill Madlock, Pittsburgh Pirates, and John Matlack, New York Mets. Or Matlack, I should say. In 1978, British Open Men's Golf at St. Andrews. Jack Nicklaus competes his third career Grand Slam, winning by 2 strokes over Ben Crenshaw and Ray Floyd. In 1979, U.S. Open Women's Golf, Brooklyn Geraldine Britz wins her first LPGA Tour event and only major, 2 shots ahead of runners-up Debbie Massey and Sandra Palmer. In 1980, John Bench hits his 314th home run as a catcher, which breaks Yogi Berra's record. In 1984, U.S. Open Women's Golf, Salem. Paula Stacey wins her third U.S. title by 1 stroke over Rosie Jones. In 1986, 57th MLB All-Star Game, American League wins 3-2 at Astrodome, Houston, Texas. MVP, Roger Clemens, the Boston Red Sox. In 1990, U.S. Open Women's Golf, Atlanta Athletic Club. Defending champion Betsy King wins consecutive titles, 1 stroke ahead of runner-up Patty Sheehan, the leader after each of the first 3 rounds. In 1991, Standai Ortiz Dilval is the first woman to officiate a men's pro basketball USBL game between New Haven Skyhawks and Philadelphia Spirit. And that is the Spirit. In 1994, Derek Coleman of the New Jersey Nets is accused of rape in Detroit. In 1996, after 2,216 consecutive games at shortstop, MLB Baltimore Orioles Cal Ripken moves to third base. In 1999, the inaugural game at the Seattle Mariners Citi Field held in Seattle, Washington. In the year 2000, when we would make it up to you, world record rugby attendance of 108,874 seats, New Zealand beats Australia 39-35 in a Tri-Nations match at Stadium Australia, Sydney. 5 tries each, with Andrew Meriton's goal kicking being the difference. In 2001, Senior Players Championship Men's Golf, TPC of Michigan. Alan Doyle wins his second Championships Tour major with par on the first extra hole of a playoff with Doug Towell. In 2003, 74th Major League Baseball All-Star Game, American League wins 7-6 at U.S. Cellular Field in Chicago, Illinois. In 2005, after declining an offer to remain with the Anaheim Mighty Ducks, Mike Babcock is named head coach of the Detroit Red Wings. In 2007, Copa America final, Maracaibo, Venezuela, defending champions Brazil, wins their 8th title with a 3-0 win over Argentina. Also in 2007, Major League Baseball Philadelphia Phillies lose to visiting St. Louis Cardinals 10-2, becoming the first franchise in major American sports with 10,000 all-time losses. That's astounding to me, and that should never happen ever again. I'm just saying. In 2012, U.S. Senior Open Men's Golf, Indianwood GNCC. Englishman Roger Chapman wins by 2 strokes ahead of Bernard Langler, Fred Funk, Corey Pavin, and Tom Lehman. In 2013, 18 people are killed and 47 are injured in a riot following a boxing match in Indonesia. That sucks. That really, really sucks. In 2014, 85th MLB All-Star Game, American League wins 5-3 at Target Field, Minnesota. In 2017, Wimbledon women's tennis, Gabrielle Muguruza of Spain beats Venus Williams 7-5, 6-0 for her second Grand Slam title. And we get the FIFA World Cup. In 2018, the FIFA World Cup final. Look at Luzhniki Stadium. I think that's how I pronounce it. Correct me. Moscow, Russia. Former captain Dieter Deschamps becomes only the third man to win the event as a player and coach as France beats Croatia 4-2. In 2018, Filipino boxing legend Manny Pacquiao stops WBA welterweight champion Lucas Mathis in the 7th round in Kuala Lumpur for his first knockout in 9 years and 60th career victory. Also in 2018, Senior Players Championship Men's Golf Exmoor. Vijay Singh wins in a playoff with Jeff Maggart on second extra hole. Also in 2018, Wimbledon's men's tennis. Novak Djokovic wins his 4th Wimbledon title, beating South African Kevin Anderson 6-2, 6-2, and 7-6. In 2019, Tampa Bay catcher Travis DeArnold becomes the first player in MLB history to hit 3 home runs while catching and batting leadoff in the Rays' 5-4 win over the New York Yankees. In 2023, Argentine footballer Lionel Messi officially signs for Inter Miami for 2.5 years with a salary between $50 million and $60 million a year. In 2023, Wimbledon women's tennis. Czech left-hander Marketa Vondrousova beats Ona Jabeur of Tunisia 6-4, 6-4 to become first unseeded player to win the women's singles title in the pro era. And in 2025, 95th MLB All-Star Game, National League breaks 6-6 tie and wins debut of a new home run derby-style tiebreaker swing-off 4-3 at Truist Park in Cumberland, Georgia. MVP Kyle Schwarber of the Philadelphia Phillies. Those are all the events that happened on this day in July 15th in the world of sports, nothing but sports. And for the final segment for on this day, we're going to take a look at what happened in years past for July 15th in film and television history. So what happened in years past here? Well, in 1949, WB TV Channel 3 in Charlotte, North Carolina begins broadcasting. In 1954, KOCO TV Channel 5 in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma begins broadcasting. Also in 54, WBOC TV Channel 16 in Salisbury, MD begins broadcasting. In 1955, WNDU TV Channel 16 in South Bend, IN begins broadcasting. In 1963, KAIT TV Channel 8 in Jonesboro, Arizona begins broadcasting. In 1967, Neil Simon, Cy Coleman, and Dorothy Fields' musical Sweet Charity, starring Gwen Verdon and directed by Bob Fosse, closes at the Palace Theater in New York City after 608 performances and wins a Tony Award for choreography. In 1968, the American soap opera One Life to Live premieres on TV. In 1974, American TV news reporter Christine Chubbuck shoots herself live on WXLT TV in Sarasota, Florida, first person to commit suicide in a live broadcast. Again, another thing that sucks. In 1983, film version of The Pirates of Venice starring Kevin Kline, Linda Ronstadt, and Angela Lansbury premieres in the U.S. Jessica Fletcher herself. In 1985, Deborah Carthy Dio of Puerto Rico crowns 34th Miss Universe. A little bit of a music history for you in the film and television. We got Boy George is barred from a British TV show because he may be a bad influence. In 1988, Die Hard, directed by John McTiernan and starring Bruce Willis and Alan Rickman, is released in the US. And all I have to say about that is yippee-ki-yay, mother trucker. In 1996, MSNBC begins Microsoft Internet NBC TV. In 1997, Gerald McKenzie awarded $26.6 million, later reduced to $625,000 for being fired from Miller Brewing for sexual harassment for relaying a Seinfeld episode to a co-worker. Lovely. In the year 2005, Wedding Crashers, starring Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn, premieres. Wow. In 2008, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, the sixth film based on the books by J.K. Rowling, is released worldwide. In 2016, 10 years ago, Stranger Things, created by the Duffer Brothers and starring Winona Ryder, David Harbour, Finn Wolfhard, Natalia Dyer, and Millie Bobby Brown, debuts on Netflix. One of my favorite shows, and that'll be a show I will be talking about in a future episode of the Rock Out Wild Show. Mark my words. And those are all the events that happened on this day for July the 15th in the world of film and television. And I do believe it is about that time for the main events for episode 77 of the Rock Out Wild Show. And that is a ranking of Christopher Nolan's movies, all 12 movies that he directed in his career, from following to his latest, Oppenheimer. All that will be on this main event. Now, what I'm going to do is present an article and see how they rank it. And at the end, I will give my own ranking of the movies from 12 to 1. So let's go over the article first. So I found an article. The first thing that came up was an article from BuzzFeed and how they ranked all 12 Christopher Nolan directed movies. So let's share screen. We will go over this first before I give my take on his movies. And let's see how BuzzFeed ranked every Christopher Nolan film, from brilliant to life-changing, and I'm still not over the top 3. Let's be honest, all of his films are amazing, and I 100% agree with that. I mean, there's no such thing as a bad Christopher Nolan movie. There's amazing Nolan movies. There's great Nolan movies. There's good Nolan movies. They're just okay Nolan movies. He has no big blunder. And I'll say that to my last dying breath. In Nolan, we trust. Let's get this going. So, a little fact. Obviously, Christopher Nolan is one of the best directors. That he's going to do the Odyssey. And this is what BuzzFeed says. Number 12 is Tenet from 2020. And it says here, anyone familiar with Christopher Nolan's films knows that time and its manipulation are recurring themes. This person says, I wish I could study how his mind works. That being said, even though Tenet was visually cool to look at, for this person, the plot was a little too difficult to fully grasp. I could sort of understand that. The plot was difficult to fully grasp, and the payoff at the end felt a little short. And the synopsis here is, an undercover agent must retrieve a mysterious and powerful weapon in order to stop a temporal war that could destroy the world. Number 11. Your punishment must be more severe. The Dark Knight Rises. The conclusion of Nolan's Batman trilogy was epic to say the least. Bane's so you think darkness is your ally? Or I should say like this. So you think darkness is your ally? Is one of the vocal stems. While the end of the trilogy was satisfactory, it felt a little short in terms of emotional payoff. I can sort of understand that. I wish they had gotten a few more scenes with Batman, Bruce Wayne, the Catwoman, Selena Kyle interacting. Would have them ending up together, maybe a bit more believable. And loving Marion Cotillard, but her death scene is up there with Sofia Coppola's The Godfather 3. That's not a good thing. I kind of agree with that too. I mean, Nolan has a way of starting a good series, but has a bit of a difficult time to landing the ship on the third one. So I could see The Dark Knight Rises is down there. Number 10 on this list is Insomnia. Me personally, I would have that a lot higher, and I will go over that in just a little bit. But Insomnia is one of Nolan's earlier works. Film is great, but one of the lesser Nolan feeling films. That I do agree with. It doesn't feel like a Christopher Nolan film because it doesn't deal with time loopy, mind bending type of stuff. It's a simple, straightforward type of thriller starring one of the great actors of all time in Al Pacino. I mean, the film is great, but it's one of the lesser known feeling films. That's why it's low. Me personally, I still have it higher. And it's because it's one of the earlier Nolan Nora's brother wrote or developed the story for. And in this movie, sent to an Alaska town to help solve a murder, a sleep deprived LA detective starts to unravel as he engages in a cat and mouse game with a wily killer. So that's number 10 on the list. And number 9 is his very first director film following. That came out in 1998. Nolan basically directed this movie with his friends. That's essentially what he did. Since you're Nolan's first movie, and damn, it's a good one. He's only got up from here. And I 100% agree with that. And the synopsis here, a young writer who follows strangers for material meets a thief who takes him under his wing. So that's pretty much all you need to know. It's a very, very basic movie. Number 8 on this list is Interstellar from 2014. Interstellar's isn't Nolan's first forte into time play, nor is it his last. And to the person that wrote this, is more successful with Tenet plot-wise, but less successful than other films on the list. And with Interstellar, you got Matthew McConaughey, who's absolutely amazing in this. And there's a nonsense here with humanity teetering on the brink of extinction, and a group of astronauts traveled through a wormhole in search of another inhabitable planet. So that's pretty much Interstellar in a nutshell. I mean, it's a great, great movie. It's a long movie, but it's one of those movies that I gave away 100 points to a long, long time ago. Number 7 on this list is Dunkirk. And it says here, truly a masterpiece. It was more of a visual and audio experience rather than a straight narrative. And as someone who appreciates an irate plot, there are other works of Nolan's that they prefer more. And to me, what I like about Dunkirk is that the movie doesn't star one single actor. There's many actors in it, but it doesn't focus on a single individual. What I like is that war is the main character of Dunkirk because you feel the energy from it. And it says here the synopsis: after Germany traps the Allied troops on the beaches of Dunkirk, France, British forces embark on an air and ground mission to evacuate the soldiers. And then we have number 6 is the latest on this article is Oppenheimer, as in Robert Oppenheimer from 2023. It says here Nolan's first forte into a biopic was nothing short of successful, and I 100% agree with that. His ability to take a known historical figure with nuance and intrigue was a sight to behold, and his ability to take American Prometheus and make Oppenheimer is what makes it one of the best adapted films. Still, his original ideas carry a bit more weight, obviously. But to me, the biggest star in Oppenheimer is not just Cillian Murphy. I mean, Cillian Murphy was a star in the movie, but the real show stealer was Robert Downey Jr. in this. And this nonsense here, psychiatrist J. Robert Oppenheimer and a team of scientists spend years developing the atomic bomb, forever changing the course of history. Number 5 on this article is The Prestige from 2006. Can't believe that was 20 years ago this came out. It's amazing how time's gone. Maybe Christopher Nolan can redo this movie 20 years later. I don't know if he's into remaking his own movies, but I think this one could probably do one because I think this movie's way too high. I don't particularly like the movie. I don't consider it a bad movie, but it's an okay movie. I'll explain before I get into what this article says. I think that both Christian Bale and I think it's Edwin, the other star in this movie, Hugh Jackman. Yeah, Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman. They play two magicians, and they're like two obsessed people obsessing over each other. It's not entertaining. I just don't find that entertaining. But what does this article say? Well, it says here, here's another banger of a book to film adaptation from Christopher Nolan. The amount of twists and turns, my goodness. I mean, I'll give the movie credit for this. The movie has really good magic tricks in it. I will say that. It says every time they rewatch it, you notice something new, especially in Christian Bale's double performance as Alfred Borden and Bernard Fallon. Also, Rebecca Hall's Sandra Borden is a favorite female in Nolan's repertoire. And they said, notice here, despite to reveal each other's secrets with two rival magicians beginning to perform increasingly risky tricks, which soon turned deadly. Number 4, The Dark Knight. How this is not number 1 or 2 is baffling to me. I think this is a little low. But it says here 3 words: Heath Ledger's Joker. I agree with that. Also, Christopher Nolan and Jonathan Nolan's brother and writing partner really popped off with the line, "You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain." Yeah, it's a quotable line. Absolutely. It's one of the most iconic lines. Absolutely. And you got the synopsis here. The Joker throws Gotham into anarchy and forces Batman ever closer to crossing the line between hero and vigilante. I mean, this movie is a trendsetter. I don't know if I would add anything that everyone else has said about The Dark Knight. I mean, like I just said, it's a trendsetter. It's one of the best movies of all time. I'll just leave it at that. Number 3 on this list is Batman Begins, and how Batman Begins is above The Dark Knight, I'm not quite sure, but I do love the love for Batman Begins because origin stories like this are absolutely tremendous. It says here, a holy origin story, Batman. This is a testament to Nolan's prowess, as the first 40-something minutes of Batman Begins serves as a preamble, I should say, and background. Bruce doesn't even put on his Batman suit until halfway through the film, and yet they were hooked from minute 1 till minute 140. Also, the line, "Why do we fall, Master Bruce? We can learn to pick ourselves up." Words to live by. I agree with that. And it's hypnosis here. After training with the League of Shadows, Bruce Wayne returns to Gotham, intent on cleaning up the city without resorting to murder. So Batman Begins is number 3 on BuzzFeed's article. Number 2, Memento from the year 2000. And that is the year when We Would Make It Up to You. Memento, I think, is one of Christopher Nolan's best movies, and I agree with this being as high as it is. And it says here, if you haven't watched this film, do yourself a favor, and once you finish, go ahead and watch it again. I love the pun there. Nolan was able to take Jonathan's short story, his brother, and delivering a compelling film with an even more compelling non-linear structure, which gave a whole new meaning to the term unreliable narrator. I watched this movie a few times, and the more I watch it, the more I love it. I mean, it takes the whole story approach and it tells the story in reverse, and it meets in the middle. It's that kind of movie where you really got to think about it over and over and over. And Guy Pearce. Guy Pearce. Look no further than one of the best actors of his time. Only Guy Pearce could pull off a character like this. I can't see any other actor play the role that he did. Cannot see it. I think he really made that movie the movie. But what is number one on BuzzFeed's article? Well, and that is Inception from 2010. A dream within a dream. You know, they said a bunch, but they truly know that Christopher Nolan came up with the idea and B brought his vision to life in a way that was both fantastically cinematic and also realistically grounded. The ensemble cast of Leonardo DiCaprio, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Tom Hardy, Elliot Page, who was Karen Page at the time, Ken Watanabe, Cillian Murphy, Michael Caine, Martin Cotillard, Tom Bergener, and more and more and more. It's nothing short of miraculous to behold. And the score, impeccable. Truly, not a single, I don't have a single note. There is nothing that wouldn't change. Never miss an opportunity to watch this movie. One of the best movies of all time. And its team are not good guys. They are thieves, and yet they're rooting for them to pull off the heist when the mission comes at the expense of the enemy of the corrupt man paying them. And yet we have no choice but to stand. And the synopsis here of Inception, a thief who steals corporate secrets through the use of dream sharing technology is given the inverse task of planting an idea into the mind of a CEO. But his tragic past may doom the project and his team to disaster. So that's BuzzFeed's ranking of all Christopher Nolan movies ranked from 12 to number 1. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the article and I will give you my ranking of all of Christopher Nolan's directed movies. This will just be a quick rank from number 12 to number 1. Coming in at number 12, his first directed film, Following. My number 11 Christopher Nolan directed movie is The Prestige. Number 10 on my list is Tenet. And number 9 is Christopher Nolan's war masterpiece, Dunkirk. At number 8, The Dark Knight Rises. Number 7, the one that he went up to space with, Interstellar. Number 6 on my list is Oppenheimer. Number 5, the origin story of Bruce Wayne himself, Batman Begins. My number 4 favorite Christopher Nolan movie of all time is Insomnia. And number 3 is the mind-bending Inception. My number 2 favorite Christopher Nolan movie of all time is The Dark Knight. And my number 1 favorite Christopher Nolan movie of all time, you guessed it when you narrowed it down, that is Memento. So that was my ranking of all Christopher Nolan movies ranked. And this has been episode number 77 of the Rock Out Wild Show. I'm going to leave you all with a quote from Perspective of the Day, and it goes something like this. When people think about freedom, they often imagine a place or a moment. Real freedom begins much closer to home. It starts in your own mind. It begins the day you stop letting fear, guilt, or other people's exemptions decide how you live. You don't have to carry old labels forever. You don't have to keep proving your worth or apologizing for taking up space. Every small choice to be honest with yourself is a step towards freedom. The life you always wanted may not begin with a big change. It may begin with giving yourself permission to finally be yourself. This has been episode 77 of the Rock Out Wild Show, and I am your host, Just Mike. On a final note to all of you watching and listening to this all around the world, get plenty of rest and always do your best.